We are? Oh, that's bananas. Oh, yeah. Hi. Thanks for dropping by. Yeah. Thank you for stepping into a world that we cherish. I hope you cherished it too. Yeah. We're just coming back every time. It just seems to go like that. No, I don't think so. I that's
Oh, come on.
Oh,
Okay.
uh-oh.
And now you can hear me, right? And now you can
Oh,
hear me.
boy.
Because, of course, I can't start any live stream without some kind of technical difficulty. Wow. Good job. All right.
I
At least.
I'm actually that was actually that's my bad.
Oh,
I
did
just
you hack into
I
my
I play
system?
I got jokes. I play tricks.
Uh,
It's what I do. It's what I
clearly
do.
nothing has changed
He
in
couldn't
11 years, as I've
he
plainly learned.
clearly from the animation just showed his
Oh,
biography.
That's right, my biography. That's
yes.
it again. It was kind of traumatic to relive some of that stuff, but
Wow.
it's been worse. It's been
Truly,
worse.
truly. My gosh. Okay. Well, now that we're here, it looks like people have loaded in. I just wanted to give people a minute. I'm glad that you didn't miss
So many
anything of
people's.
you didn't miss anything of any significance. Are
Oh,
our audio levels okay? I have the music playing on in the background very faintly. I didn't want to have it be too overbearing or anything. But are we all okay? Everybody listening right now? Please
I
let.
am never overbearing.
You're
I don't agree with that.
you're never okay. uh, all right. Well, as we're kicking things off, hi everybody. I'm Chris Niosi. You might also better know me as Kerbifer. I am the creator of the Terrain of Magical Expertise, both the web series and the video game, the recent video game, which is now a little over a year old at this point. And yeah, this is the 11th anniversary. It was 11 years ago today that we released the first episode of the Terrain of Magical Expertise, Tome for short, web
Crazy.
series on Newgrounds. And here we are all this time later. My God, we've come quite a long way. I'm joined by the illustrious Mr. Deven Mack, who is
That's
the.
right. I did various tasks,
Yes,
such
yes.
as writing and production on this specifically, and yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, you don't really do that much, do you?
okay. I try.
At a certain former hacker is joining us as well.
Well, I never said former hacker.
A former, yes, of
Um,
course, ex villain.
I cannot
Excuse me.
confirm or deny, but
Right.
I am not evil anymore.
Right.
At least I don't consider
Well,
myself to be,
I'll,
which
I'll
means
let
I'm not.
I'll let muting me at the beginning of this stream slide.
That was a joke.
Just because I like you.
Thank you.
So yeah,
It doesn't go both ways, but thank you.
Wow. All right. Well, you know,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I was gonna
I'm
say,
trying to be. Sorry, I'm trying to be less evil. I'm sorry.
Hovers over the end stream button. Thanks for joining us. So no, of course, Mac was the voice of Raccoon, and later, very shortly after, as soon as episode 4 became the writer of Raccoon, and then shortly after that became the writer of what eventually became the Troublemakers characters, which involve Skate and Archie, both for the 2011 series later on, and then the RPG, the Terrain of Magical Expertise RPG, which of course is a separate universe in and of itself. But
Right.
Mac was absolutely instrumental in developing the arc of Raccoon, Skate, and Archie in that as well. And voice directed Zena Robinson and Mike Kovac and Griffin Puatu on those characters.
They were all so
yes. Good. And then, of course, for our new short to celebrate the 11th anniversary, so Tome, Hard Reset, which was kind of Mack's, 6-year brainchild that you've been kind of cooking up?
Very, very much so. Yeah. I always wanted to see, like, it was never enough for me to be like, okay, you know, Raccoon did a good deed. It seemed like after all that development to have his story kind of end there, I was never really fully comfy with that. So I always thought about, okay, what could happen next? What could he potentially struggle with? Are they really going to be able to get along? And to kind of give people a glance into that window was really cool. It's actually something that I plan to be much longer. That's why I've been writing it since 2016. But I gave myself this kind of personal challenge. Can I get it down to like a 5-minute prologue, like a first chapter? And put that out there in time for the 11th anniversary, and it was really scary. And
oh yes, I had 5 heart attacks.
But you know, we made it. We made it just in time, and I'm glad people seem to enjoy it. I was very happy with it.
Reminiscing on what led to this whole sort of path and everything. So a lot of hardcore fans of the show, I'm sure, probably know the whole sort of story, but just to quickly refresh this. So when we were doing the early days of the 2011 Tome series, Raccoon was intended to be kind of a little quick, you know, a villain of the day character alongside Doubling, of course. They were written to be like, you know, some wacky, fun little, you know, one-off villains in the first episode. I was planning for them to make a cameo appearance in the tournament's 2-parter, which would have been a little bit later on. And then that was really it. And when I cast Mack and also our good friend Ed Bosco, of course, known for many awesome video games and anime and cartoons and things, I cast the two of them because they're good friends and they had really good kind of improv.
I think he's kind of a has-been, to be honest. But you know, whatever you say.
Oh, mean. Yeah, I grew to really love these characters a lot, and certainly the fans did too. So then we added what eventually became episode 4, Fragged Quest, which was this little fun kind of filler-esque episode that was almost our last episode, believe it or not. It was the last one that was sponsored by Newgrounds at the time. Big thanks to Tom Fulp and everybody at Newgrounds for that. Yeah, and then we really just grew to like him more and more, and we kept kind of adding things, and then we came up with Raccoon's Modern Strife, which Mack was... we co-wrote that, but you were mainly at the helm of working on that. But I was mainly just kind of fitting it into the continuity of what was happening around the rest of the story. We did that.
Just kind of kept bringing me back. It's
yeah,
kind of bananas.
You just never stopped.
I feel like I'm too adorable. That episode 4 really though was the turning point where like I figured out who I was, as opposed to like I'm not just screaming. It's like, oh, I actually like miss my friend. I have actual feelings beyond just being a ruthless killing machine, which I can be, but you know, there's more. There's more to that. Wait, what am I saying? No, I'm not evil. Not evil anymore. No.
It just kind of evolved and spiraled upward from there. We kept including him in things. We had a few different ideas.
It felt like almost each new inclusion, we didn't know whether or not it was going to be his last. I was more or less improvising an arc as I went. In episode 4, I did start to plant some seeds, knowing, will we be able to harvest these later? I don't know, but it kind of worked out.
There were even a few different ideas we had for. There was a stage where season 2, which of course we did a crowdfunding little quick thing for, did that for 6 episodes. At one point, the kind of last part of the web series story was going to be a movie. I wanted to try to compress all that stuff. I had some ideas for maybe what to do with Raccoon and Skate and Archie in that at the time that ended up kind of getting scrapped. We ended up coming up with his little bit in episode 13. Yeah, and we loved that. That was a whole emotionally wrecking
And
thing. But
your initial idea, I believe, was for him to possibly even team up with Oddball.
The stinky garbage man?
Yeah, the stinky garbage man, the guy who says all the bad words. Although Ben Diskin is a wonderful human being who voices him. But I think that was your initial plan, and then we just very very late into the idea or something. I think we sort of shifted gears and just put him through the emotional trauma instead.
yeah, it was it was quite an interesting sort of roller coaster that was parallel to just me producing the show over the course of we did the show for 4 years and we did 16 episodes, a few shorts and other little spin-off things and stuff. And yeah, it was great. I was really really satisfied and really happy with what we got to do with him. He, went from being like a source of comedy relief to being one of the most heartfelt parts of the entire story, even for just being a supporting character. And then that really lit the candle for when we went a bit of a different direction with him and the others for the RPG incarnation, kind of starting fresh and having a new dynamic with them. And so yeah, they've been wonderful characters, and I love them a lot, and I'm very happy that people that have connected with them so much and enjoyed them so much.
I basically always wanted to see Team Rocket goes through an existential crisis. So to basically get to live that out with Rocky was very very special to me, and the fact that his story resonated with so many people was just beyond my wildest dreams. The Team Rocket fanfic that I never wrote is what I got to write with Raccoon.
Yeah, thanks for that.
While that's relevant, I will be a whore for a moment and say, please, if you've not played the Tome RPG on Steam and or any other whatever, you're of age now. You can handle some harsh language.
I'm only 11.
Oh gosh, no, that's my show is 11. You're
right.
You're 100.
My bad. Raccoon
Yes.
years,
Yeah, of course. Yeah, if you guys have not played the Tome video game, which we finished a little over a whole year ago already, so that's just hit its first year anniversary, please check it out. I've got a link in the description and also in the chat just now. Every sale helps, and we super, super appreciate it. We worked really hard. Mack and I worked really, really, really hard on the game. But back to this. So Hard Reset, yes, this was something that you had been cooking up for a long time. You and I personally had quite a few discussions about how this could go and different ideas and what characters to utilize and what the arc was going to be and everything. Obviously still kind of developing it a bit, but yeah, I agreed with this kind of little quick startup of just an opening bit, like a nice little taste of it that just even by itself, if anything more were to go after this or not, obviously is up in the air as we've got many different things going on, Mack and I. But I liked this little slice, and I went ahead and I animated this, and we had the lovely help of Ty Toy Drill to do the background art, which was fantastic, and Faye Lyons, Andy, who's a great VTuber and a longtime friend of mine. Also, both fans of the original series and longtime friends who I adore the work of, and they came in and both Andy did some lip sync animation for the short as well, and we had quite a few people on the music team and the sound team helping us out.
Oh my goodness, yes.
If you want to cover that, please.
Yes, I'm trying to find the list of names right now. Here we go. So yes, on the music we had Pierce Hakkard is the first song that you hear with the hip hop beats. It's a combination of Pierce Hakkard doing the more orchestral part, and Pierce originally did the. He did various songs for the Tome RPG, including the final battle with the Troublemakers. The hip hop beats were and he was phenomenal. The hip hop beats were done by my cousin, who goes by B Mack. Ha, fitting. And again, he listened to Pierce's stuff and just layered his beats on top, and it hits so good. It hits different. We had. Who else did we have?
Do you know how to read?
I'm working on it. Hold on. We had Abigail Gallagher, who's known in the Tome community as Link or VHS cassette. They did the piano, the credits theme towards the end, which I had actually initially composed myself on a keyboard, and then I sent it to Abigail and was like, "Do it more betterer," and Abigail did it way more betterer.
Yeah, Link did that for me a few times on the Tome RPG, where I'm like, "Here, I made this in Google Music Maker. Now make it not sound like ass. Thank you." So,
Pierce also did various other pieces, including the sort of Raccoon's goofy 30-second comedy hour sort of music, which uses a lot of a theme that I composed for Archie called The Fable of Archie, which is definitely not blatantly ripped off of The Legend of Zelda in any way whatsoever.
No.
Pierce took that motif and just made it his own and brought so much to it. And then last but certainly not least, we have engineer Tom O'Neill, who came in at the 11th hour and was so good.
Literally.
He in the span of like 3 days, he had composed like 3 different songs. The last 2 songs, the one that plays after Rocky says, "Let's walk and talk," as I run out of archery puns, the song that starts playing there, that one is Tom's, as well as the trauma flashback one, as well as he contributed to the Kirby Samurai Showdown thing as well. Except it's legally distinct.
Yes,
Definitely
of course,
legally
of course,
distinct.
Of course, yes.
And not only that, that's what he did in day 1. And then day 2, he did all of the sound design. And then day 3, he had done like 99% of the mixing. And then after that, I just gave him some notes for adjustments. That dude is incredible. And he first met Rocky, I want to say back in May, because Rocky was voice directing a show that he was engineering on. So even though he didn't know anything about Tome, he's like, "Hey, that Raccoon's pretty funny. Maybe we'll work together someday." And lo and behold, it worked out.
And
I love that dude. He's great.
And here we are.
He's a friend from work.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a friend from work. Yeah. So shout outs to all of those wonderful people that helped us get this done over the course of what, about 3 or 4 months, I think. Maybe longer. Can't remember.
It feels like 6 years for me.
Well, yes, certainly. But for this particular part of this, of course.
Oh no! Oh, Link missed their bit. But VHS cassette, yes, amazing, awesome. Abigail Gallagher did the piano piece that Devin wrote and was.
Rewind and listen to us fillet you. That's how you can get your kicks. Yeah, enjoy.
Whoa, bad language.
I know.
Seriously.
I'm sorry.
Chill,
sorry.
dude. There are kids potentially watching.
And so, yeah, I saw somebody earlier being like, "Oh man, this was 11 years old already, this series," and it's like, wow, I'm 18 today, and I'm just like, oh god, I feel myself shriveling up. Good lord.
It's crazy how long some people have followed this, though. And Cal Joyle, I did not know that you had been a fan for that long. If you had mentioned it at some point prior, please excuse me. But oh my goodness, it's awesome that you are still a fan to this day and have enjoyed Rocky and his exploits and Tome.
I was still living in New York at the time. You know, doing the early stuff, and then moved to LA. We finished the series in 2015. We did, we did the premiere at Anime Expo, which I was just looking at the screening that we did of that with the audience reaction and everything. Took a break for a little bit. I did the anniversary short after that with like the AVZ thing, and then we did the game, went on that for 4 years, and you know, we've gone on to do. I mean, those of you who maybe be coming from other sources or maybe don't know, Mack and I also work in voiceover. You know, worked on a whole bunch of different cartoons and anime and video games and things. Mack is, of course,
he's done a little bit.
Mack, you're all going to be hearing in about a month or so on Sonic Prime, which I know people are very, very
I taught him
about.
everything he knows.
That's
He doesn't.
true.
He didn't even know how to do that
true.
voice.
That is
Have
true.
you seen him play Sonic games? He has no idea what he's doing.
But yeah, with that out of the way, I'd love to take some questions from the chat. So if you have them, please present them, and hopefully we'll go through them. We're going to go for probably like an hour or so, maybe some change depending on how the discussions go and everything. I had some funny stuff to share also towards the end as well. But yeah.
Busy people. You think we have time to be here for an hour?
That is true. We are... yeah, we do have a lot going on. You and I are much busier than we were when we started this show, both for different reasons.
Exactly. Well, you and I, Devin, again, I don't know if he actually does anything.
Really
but,
anything
you know,
at all, of course.
Yeah. It's going to be like that. It's always like that, ain't it?
How much
Yeah.
Legless Lizard asked, how much DBZ did I watch making the last episode? I watch a lot of DBZ in general. I still go back and rewatch old episodes just because I feel like it, so the influence never really leaves my brain or my hands as I'm making my artistry. It's always just kind of there. So, you know, it's ever present, the influence of Dragon Ball in everything that I make. I can't recall if Rocky ever had any real DBZ references squeezed in anywhere with what he was doing, but
That doesn't seem like me. I don't hate anime, but I don't watch a lot of it, so yeah.
Morpheus ZX, dare I ask, with the April Fools of TTA Season 4 a few years ago, may I ask when TV Tome Adventures Season 4 can be revived since Tome and the RPG have ended, or is there anything else coming from the RPG? No, I have no plans or interest to do TTA Season 4. For those of you who don't know, TV Tome Adventures is the primordial version of Tome from way, way back in my early Newgrounds days in 2004 and 5. No, I'm not planning or interested in doing that. I would love to do a Switch port of the RPG with maybe some extra stuff in there, but that would have to be if the game is successful enough to warrant that. So once again, please pick it up on Steam or other fine digital storefronts. Terrain of Magical Expertise. Metabilis said, "Oh yeah, I heard a rodent line in the new Sonic game, and it made me question if Devin." Oh, that's funny. If he voiced Sonic too. But no, of course, you are still sharing the role.
Roger Craig Smith was phenomenal in that.
Yes.
I legitimately love his work, and between that and Sonic Boom, the dude is
absolutely
incredible,
He is.
incredible.
He is.
And I hope he continues to voice the Sonic games for as long as he wants to.
Yes, please. He is fantastic. One of my idols as an actor as well, like without a doubt.
And just the sweetest dude as well. He reached out to me like instantly and just had nothing but kind words to say.
Oh yeah, when you did your announcement video. Yeah.
Well, even before that, because
Really?
I guess somebody on some staff told him,
Oh,
and he's
really?
like, "Hey, buddy, yo, welcome to the family." And I was like, "Oh man,
Yeah.
that's crazy."
Jacob Tucker asked, how do you feel you've personally progressed in your respective careers since first working on the Tome web series? I think we progressed quite a bit. I mean, Mack, you've gone on to, I'll say, I feel like you've gone on to be one of the most working voiceover actors in all of Canada in the last decade. Because Sonic Prime is one thing, but you've worked on so many shows. You've worked on practically every show in town. Up there, so.
Many of them. I mean, it was actually a very, very long time before I was on Paw Patrol.
Mm-hmm.
That only happened like for the first time last year. And I never got to even audition for the original Total Drama somehow. But yeah, now I'm on everything. Yeah, it's kind of bananas, you know. I went from being in a place of like, man, am I ever gonna get a chance? To okay, you don't need to give me that many chances. That's where it's at now, and even Rocky has grown to not be the absolute worst person of all time. And oh yeah, he's become a successful, successful is being generous. Thanks for that. He's become a VTuber, and he's done a little bit of voice directing himself, which I will give him credit where it's due. He's actually pretty good at it.
Hey, I'm better than you. The kids keep saying, "Where's the raccoon? Where's the raccoon? Bring him back." You're just not that talented, Devin. Really, just
constantly getting bullied by children. It's quite adorable.
Most of the time the kids do not bully me. Most of the time.
Okay.
The other times let's talk about something else.
Sure. Let's talk about me. For myself, I've also been lucky enough to have had a very flourishing voiceover career. I've gotten to work on a lot of great shows, anime and games and cartoons. I got to work on OKKO, Mob Psycho, Tales of Zestiria, Octopath Traveler, all these great projects. And I've gotten to direct a bunch of video games. I've been actually directing some anime stuff a little bit as of recently, which has been a huge honor. I've been writing anime English dub scripts for MYAV Post for a few shows. I worked on Amame and Kingdom, the recent Goodbye Don't Glees movie, which was a huge honor, working on some new stuff now. And I'm also, my next kind of major thing that I'm cooking up is Balancing Act, which is a magnum opus of mine that I've been, kind of developing for years as well. You talk about 6 years for Hard Reset, but, Balancing Act is probably 20 to 25 years of my life at this point. Mm-hmm. And I've been writing the screenplay for that, doing character designs and developing some stuff. But I'm really proud of how far I've come, and I hope that you and I continue to go onwards and upwards with everything that we're doing.
Love to see it happen.
Absolutely.
And it's great to see you making the progress you have.
Yeah. Let's see. Going back.
Let's try to speed run. Let's try to speed run a few questions. Why a name like okra for Justin? Give the quick answer to that.
Oh, sure. It is a combination of it being a vegetable name for because he's like a Saiyan, like a DBZ fan made character, and also Okratron is the name of Christopher Sabat's studio where they do all the Dragon Ball Z English recording. So it's a little bit of a tribute to that as well. What was my favorite effort noise that I've ever had to make? Asked by Finn Underwood. I always like my trademark that I try to throw into everything, because that's from Banjo-Kazooie. Dragon13527980, is Tome coming back as a full series? No, this is just a little thing that we wanted to do for the anniversary. Whether or not we'll be able to do more of Hard Reset after this is yet to be seen. I hope so. But that will be
depends on whether or not Deven Mack is good enough to actually write it.
Yes, and whether Chris is available enough to animate it as well. So
that too.
Let's see.
Before we get into the big question that Fireflakes sent, I want to answer the one from Serbadork, who is Jan Aponte, who did the voice of Archie and was so good. And Jan says, Devin, can you talk about what the idea was behind Archie's characterization in this short and the decision to have Raccoon be his mentor figure of sorts? That was honestly something that I always wanted to do from the second that I had them first connect properly at the end of episode 15, the finale. The second I saw Archie on screen, I'm like, you're my precious baby son, and I want to adopt you and take care of you. And again, such a funny character that I thought had a lot of interesting potential, and I felt really bad for how terrible Kerberfer was to him. He just seemed like the sweetest kid, and so I felt like, he just needs a friend. He just needs some confidence. And when Rocky was at his lowest point, I've always sort of believed in the idea of no matter how bad things are going for me, there's always kind of somebody who has it worse, and I can find empowerment in my own sort of strength and determination in helping somebody else maybe have a little bit of a better day for them, even if my day is terrible. So to have Rocky kind of take his I don't know if confidence is the term, but he has learned how to project himself as kind of stronger than he is. He's got, which can require a lot of emotional fortitude. So him being able to help Archie in any way he could just felt like the natural progression for him as a character. And I always wanted to see better for Archie as well.
Absolutely, and I will mention, by the way, Jan did a great job. Jan actually did some additional voices way back in some of the early episodes. I think it's season 1 for the series. Much respect to Micah Solasad, who was the 2011 voice of Archie. Micah was unavailable. He's been understandably very much more selective about the voiceover work that he takes on these days. But please go check out Pineapple Studios. Micah and his partner Afia, who's the voice of Whitey in 2011 Tome. They create video games and comics and visual novels and stuff. In fact, actually, Afia gave me a little fun fact. Afia gave me my very first video game voiceover job, which was for a game called Jisei. It was a point-and-click kind of mystery game. And I met Micah years ago when Soul Eater first premiered, and he worked on Balancing Act with me briefly. And he's a great guy.
Hey, you would also know Afia as the voice of Hat Kid in Hat
Yes,
Time.
of course. Yes, which I cast her out and got to work with her on that, which was a lot of fun. And Jan did a great job, and it was super cute performance. And yeah, the two of them, this version of these two as a dynamic, as opposed to Raccoon and Skate/doubling, and then compared to the RPG versions of them as a trio together, is hilarious. So,
It's a good question from Tommy Walden. I want to answer. It says, "Say Rocky, are you still calling Marshmallow Man Marshmallow Man?" Of course, that is his name.
Because what else would he call me?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it took me so long. It took me 11 years to finally realize why he calls me that. Really, it's because I'm so tasty.
Gross. although, not gonna lie though, it's very much a raccoon thing. I do like eating marshmallows.
Well,
I would.
There's so many jokes I could make, but they're not appropriate for this stream. What
was inappropriate? What are you talking about?
Nothing. You're too pure for this world, truly.
I am. Thank you. Aw.
Oh my goodness.
Don't encourage him. Don't make him think that.
Phoenix Shadow asked, which person in the Tome animated series would you want to work with again the most, and why? There's a lot of people that I did go on to continue to work with from the series. A lot of people that worked on the show, I did continue to work with on the game. Fuli, Terrence Lipinski, did a lot of environment art. He's been awesome. Andy helped actually with some lip sync in the last few episodes, and helped with some stuff in the game. She did some character designs, and she did some work on this as well. And she's been a great friend for many years. And a lot of the voice actors I've worked with on other projects, like even before Tome and after. I just saw Chris Zito, actually, who was he was one of the first actors I ever worked with. I went to visit Texas recently, and he was down there. Saw him and Scott Kaisernecka. We got dinner together, and I've worked with Zito on almost everything I've ever done in my life. So, there's a lot of folks, and if Mack was ever willing, I mean, I'd love to work with him again at some point. I don't know, but and I've been very happy to see a lot of those guys go on to do. Casey Mangelo, who is Game Crazed. I mean, look at all the amazing stuff that they have done alone. That's just one example. But and Andy Dennis, who is T-Bones, I just recently heard in Live Alive. I know if I start naming people, I'm going to go through the whole list and we'll be here all day. But no, I'm very grateful to everybody who helped on the show. were wonderful folks, and I'm very, very grateful to, because even though I know I did the majority of the animation work and everything on my own. Wes, Kadjit, he's my roommate. He's been my roommate now for about 3-4 years.
Mr. Over 9,000.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Fireflex, why did Griffin Puatu not voice Archie here? Because this is not the RPG Archie. This is the 2011 Archie. And even then, Jan's voice for Archie was not quite a voice match. More of like not a sound alike, more like a feel alike, I would say. I feel like it still fit the personality of this version of him. But still like added kind of Jan's own flavor as well, which I very much appreciate, and Mack's direction I think really came through nicely on that. So, Lightybox asks, will Chris ever release the Germa cut of episodes 8 and 9? I might have that audio still somewhere. I don't know. I don't know.
You gotta do it. I gotta hear it. Come on.
I don't know what, but maybe if I dressed up in a fat suit and just got completely drunk and just boffed everywhere, maybe someday.
That would actually be the greatest thing that has ever happened in my entire life.
Amazing in my whole life. I gotta play. I gotta play as him in Sonic RoboCop.
This will go on forever if we get into German voice.
Of course.
I love that man so much.
There was a bigger question from earlier. You said you wanted to answer. By the way, was that
there were a couple different ones.
Sure.
Fireflake said for Mack, for POC actors playing POC characters of different ethnicities than their own, do you think they should pass on reprising the roles and give them to upcoming actors of the same ethnicity? I'm going to say that it sort of depends on the sort of production and how certain people feel about it. Like, I would say the reason why people don't really have as much of an issue with that regarding anime is because it's not really something that, this is such a complicated thing to answer.
I know. You and I both could go on and on about this for hours.
Yeah, we could. We could be here for a long time. But generally, that unless the anime is like super focused on the culture of Japan and requires maybe things that are very accented and things like that, that is when people would kind of be like, hey, let's really prioritize, or even an anime like Kingdom, which focuses on Chinese culture, really prioritized getting a lot of Chinese actors there, giving them priority, which was really cool to see.
And even Asian actors in general, like the entire umbrella of that for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. But I would say an example where I absolutely would not reprise this role nowadays is because I know so much better. There are times when I was cast to play certain characters just for the sake of, close enough, they're a person of color, whatever. I was cast to play a Hawaiian character in 2008, where I was new to the industry. I didn't know very much. And I didn't know what I was doing during the audition. I did an imitation of a classmate of mine who was Filipino, and I did that accent terribly. And then when I got there, everybody on staff was not Hawaiian, naturally, and all the writers, all the producers were like, oh wow, where did you learn that really good Hawaiian accent? I'm like, I don't know one. I was just doing an imitation of my friend. And they're like, well, it sounded good to us, so there you go. And it's like, it's no, that stuff can't happen. And it wouldn't surprise me if an actual Hawaiian person would watch that episode and see their culture, not just the accent, but probably tons of things in the writing as well, and be like, whoa, we're not like that. Whoa, come on. Now people are going to believe that that's real because this was an educational show. So that stuff really matters. Having a performer, and I've seen this happen so many times. I've been able to direct things like this, where the performer will be able to look at the script and say, we don't do that. That's not how we pronounce that. That's not what we say. That stuff really matters.
Yeah, well, you know what, and I will say actually, and I'll give you and I a little bit of credit here, because I learned quite a bit from you as a director and as a casting person, and my having gotten the chance to do some of that stuff, not only for my own projects, but for other people's projects as well. When it came to tone, as well. I wanted to have the feel of like it's a game that's being played by people all over the world, and so of course there were lots of characters from different countries, characters of different races, characters of different LGBTQ alignments and things, and I cared very much about having that be as authentic as possible. So by and large, I don't recall if there were any real exceptions to this or anything, but as much as humanly possible, I tried to have a very nicely rounded out multicultural cast. I tried to be very sensitive to if I wanted a character to be of a certain race or have particular accents in anything, I would get somebody of that real origin to do it. Because I think that is really important, and for myself, I found the value of that was more important than having somebody do a voice for fun or whatever, as opposed to just getting somebody to really do it. And I'm really happy with for the most part how all those characters turned out. And it's funny because on that same note with going back to Raccoon as well, funnily enough, I voiced Raccoon in TTA. I did the original version of him, which was just me being a whack job, pitching myself out over here, wow, that stuff. And
I was impressed. I mean, because naturally I would have assumed he would have sounded like,
"Hey, it's me. Why are you telling me how to play my game? I am the king.
Okay,
I'm
guys,
the king
guys,
of the
okay,
raccoons."
guys. I hate you, Fox. But
there you go. That's it. Nailed
but then when I
hey, not bad. Work on it though.
Appreciate. Yeah, I won't quit my day job. Thanks. But yeah, then when I cast Mack as Raccoon in the 2011 series. One of the things that he just straight up asked was like, "Can I make him black?" And I'm like, "All right." It was as simple as that. And then that episode 1 version of him in particular with that very Chris Rock on steroids kind of personality with all these.
There was everything in there.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Rock was in there. Eddie Murphy was in there.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
Well, here's the funny thing, and here's part of why I wanted to do it like that. In the TV world, where everybody knew what I looked like, all I was getting to audition for was just black teenagers, just like left and right.
Yeah, the token black friend character in every show, absolutely.
And again, if a show did not have the black friend in it, then I was not auditioning for it. And sometimes it did have the black friend, and they'd forget to call me because they hadn't auditioned me in like 6 months.
Yeah.
So they'd cast a white person anyway, and that was that definitely happened in Total Drama on at least one role. And what was funny was in the online world where nobody really knew what I looked like and I could audition for literally whatever I wanted to, a lot of people thought that I was white, including quite hilariously, Druox the Shredder made this whole skit where he's like, "But D-Mac isn't black," because he didn't know that.
He knew me for a Smash-tasm narrator voice and for ... where a lot of people assumed that I was a 40 or 50-year-old man who was from, I don't know, the England or something.
But so kind of doing what I did with Rocky and sort of taking his lines and making the character that way was because I had never really gotten to play the like insano, crazy, zany, cartoony character, and online I had not played like black characters that often either. So I wanted to see what sort of fun combination I could do with both, and then I decided to make him horribly depressing and miserable.
And again, I thank you for that.
I thank you for that because I remember when I got in your recordings, you would do them in little chunks and send them to me. I didn't direct you because you just kind of let yourself take the wheel on that. But I remember when you'd send me in your recordings for episode 1 and 4 in particular. And I just it was just an abundance of gold that I had to work with. So, and that came from just me letting you go do your thing and be brilliant.
Well, you kind of had to beg me to do it because I was retired from online voice acting at that point. So I was going to do this.
I don't know if beg was the right word. I remember there was certainly a discussion because because actually, you know what? And I've talked about
he likes it when you beg. He likes it.
Once again, I could make jokes. I won't on this stream. Funnily enough, and I think I've talked about this in some of the commentaries and Fat Bubbles, which, by the way, if you guys have not listened to the episode commentaries or the Fact Bubbles of the series, there's lots of tidbits in there. You can learn a lot of different things. Lanny and Taka of Team 4-Star fame were actually the people that I was going to cast as Raccoon and Doubling, and then ultimately did not go that route. But it's funny because even they both agreed after seeing the show, like, no, you made the right choice with Mack and Bosco. But when I wanted to cast a pair of actors that I knew worked really well together. And I had known you through...
Abbott and Costello weren't available, so
yeah, of course. So I had known you for a few years, but I hadn't. I had just gotten to know Bosco, I think, through you at the time, and I was in my last year of college and all this stuff. So then, and you two were just such like funny brothers from another mother that I just felt this is a good dynamic, and I approached the two of you about it. And I knew that you were certainly making an exception, but you seemed to be cool with making exceptions for me in general. So
at that point, it was I think my two things that I asked were like, you let me do whatever I want with the dialogue, and just like make him black, and you're like, okay, and then as long as soon as you agreed on that, I was like, all right, let's go.
and then we got married and had 5 beautiful children.
And then I kept asking if we could give Raccoon a jetpack and access to a time machine.
And then it was I draw the line. I draw the line, sir. All right. The Black Dragon.
Next time, we'll work it in.
The Black Dragon that asked, if you get to port the game to Switch, what would you add into the Tome RPG? And also, does the prisoner in the dungeon have a name? If you want to learn the prisoner's name, you're going to have to play through that side quest yourself by picking up the Tome RPG on Steam, available now in other fine digital storefronts. And I would like to add, if we get to do a Switch port, I'd like to add a couple bonus boss battles and some items, and maybe even some expanded cutscenes for certain parts, depending on how much I could possibly add. It was a little bit of a struggle to compress everything we had in there already, but who knows? But yeah, if the game continues to sell, then never say never. So, yeah.
I see some people shouting out "Smash Tasm," which is pretty cool.
Very
I
nice.
did like that. And there was sort of like a reference to Grant and Grant in a sense. We had Edwin Tiong,
Yes,
who was a wonderful, talented person, had similar characters who looked kind of like Falco and Fox, and they were named. They were what did you call them? Do you remember?
Well, the originals were what, Grant and Grant.
Yes, Grant and Grant.
The Tome version, I think I named them like Grint and Grunt or something like that.
Yes, and you broke the joke because the joke is that they are grunts. So it should have been Grint. It should have been Grint and Grant.
Grunt, yes.
Or Grint.
I'm sorry, everybody.
It's
I failed
fine.
you all.
We'll just do a retroactive continuity thing. Everybody does it. It's fine. So there you go. His name's different now. We fixed it.
Oh, an earlier question, Shiba Z1finity asked a question for you both.
Zinni!
Were there any things that inspired you or that you enjoyed doing while developing your character personalities, backstories, designs, etc.? I hope your day is well. Thank you. Well, you talked about for yourself with the Team Rocket stuff and everything. I mean, certainly Meowth was a big influence on some of Raccoon's dispositions.
There's also Tetsuya Watarigani from Beyblade Metal Fusion.
The Metal Trio, yeah.
Yeah, well, he's mainly just in Metal Fusion, being ridiculously over the top. Krabby, snap. And the way he would break into these different voices, like suddenly he'll just start talking like Elvis or Snagglepuss or Austin Powers. I'm like, oh, Rocky needs to be more like that. Even right down to his laugh.
Devin, your impression was terrible.
I tried. It's me trying to get close to Scott McCord's laugh for Tetsuya, which is just over the top. Even the way he says "Let it rip," he sings it every time. Let it rip. It's beautiful. I love that man. One last
Oh, yeah,
Smash
sure.
Tasm thing I'll point out.
Sure.
Jan actually had Jan's first voice role ever was in Smash Tasm Season 1. As what character, I don't know, but that's just a really cool kind of connection.
Wow.
And one more thing I will add is that my Smash Tasm narrator and ... voices are tying this all back. That's actually a voice I learned from ripping off of Germa. It's basically his John Lithgow, Mary, we're aliens! and I twisted that, and I fused some Samurai Pizza Cat's narrator in there as well.
Yeah, we've both known Germa for quite a while. We've done some conventions and hangouts and stuff with him. He's a great guy.
In my case, like even further back with me, I've known that guy since 2005, which is terrifying.
My God. Yeah, no, he's awesome. I'd love to work with him someday on something. Obviously, you've got him in a couple video games here and there, voicing some things, which is awesome. And yeah, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, with the influences stuff and everything. For myself, and it's funny, I just saw him when I was visiting Texas, but Justin Cook, who's the voice of Yusuke from Yu Yu Hakusho, and people know him for Raditz and Super Buu and Dragon Ball and Kirishima and My Hero, lots of stuff. I absolutely, like, my whole Kerbifer performance is very much emulating, hey, Kuwabara, you're conscious. I'm not used to that. That kind of sarcasm that he had. Zeto as well. I'm trying to think of a lot of the more subtle kind of anime performances. Funnily enough, Eric Vale as well, who went on to play the RPG version of Zeto. A lot of his more subtle kind of guys that he did, like especially speaking of Yu Yu Hakusho again, he was Sakyo as well, and some of that stuff I kind of put in there. And in terms of creating the characters as well, Raccoon, funnily enough, also with the Sonic connection. And the fact that, long ago, before you are, doing an official Sonic voice, you had played Tails in quite a few
several times,
Newgrounds cartoons and otherwise. Raccoon's original design was a little bit of an edit of Tails' sprite from like the Genesis games back when I did TTA. He was kind of like a red ketchupy Tails Knuckles hodgepodge. So and his eyes are even today. His
with some Metal Sonic in there too.
Yes, yeah, with the kind of black, the whites of his eyes are black, and then his actual pupils are the kind of like glowing red circles are totally Metal Sonic kind of vibes.
That's great, cool.
And and with Kerbifer, I mean, combination of Kirby and Toon Link and Geno and Mega Man, all sorts of things.
An actual marshmallow,
And
just
an
an actual marshmallow.
yeah, the Stay Puffed and all that, yeah, of course. But yeah, a whole bunch of different
He
things.
admitted it. It's canon.
Listen. What's the next question we have?
Here's a good one.
Okay.
Where did I get? I think I saw a couple people ask this. Where did I get my scarf and my hat? Funnily enough, I would say so my actual my real life me story is kind of, you could say, a combination of what you saw happen in the web series and what you saw happen in the RPG. And there's they always, in the adaptations, they kind of add some things that aren't really there. But I saw the way that I looked when they gave me that when I was drawn with that hat and that scarf in the RPG, and I said, you know what? In the continued evolution of my biography, seeing this new hard reset thing, maybe I could borrow that. I look good with it. I like it. Keep that.
Yeah, there's certainly. And shout out also to Ty, who not only helped with, of course, the backgrounds primarily, but also helped with refining the redesigns. These are what I call the post-series designs of Raccoon and Archie as well. So.
But in order to make sure things weren't exactly the same, to make it a little bit more distinct, so people wouldn't think it's still the RPG continuity. That's why we kind of turned his scarf around the other way,
Yes, of
and
course.
and made Raccoon's hat a little bit more of a beret type of thing. And I really liked that because then I came up with the idea for Archie to give him a scarf as well, to almost give them this sort of we're like nature guides, like we're goody two shoes scouts sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I think that really helps sort of tie them together because their aesthetics naturally are extremely different, but this sort of helps make that connection.
Absolutely, and it's funny because when I did the AVZ short a few years ago, I had to come up with kind of post-series designs of Alpha and Zeto for that as well, and this was kind of the same mentality that I had for the way that they looked in this. Was this kind of combination of some different elements of things that they've had throughout, all the different incarnations and everything. In fact, I think there might have even been maybe talk about what if we, should we have them both have a black outfit, a color scheme matching kind of thing? Would that be kind of a cute reference to, the dark Archie from TTA a long time ago or whatever? We played around with him having the tights on or him not having tights, and if his hat or haircut was going to be different, all these different things, or how his eyes were going to be, and but I like how they turned out, and so big thanks to Ty for helping to kind of to tie the designs.
Ty was very nice. Yes, Ty was amazing, and somebody who's helped me develop Raccoon for a very, very, very long time.
Absolutely.
And other characters that have sort of orbited around him. We've also got a question that I've liked. Where is that? Was there something that you had hoped to expand on with the Hard Reset storyline someday? Yes.
And we'll leave it at that.
This was, again, it is something that I have been writing that is almost potentially an hour long, who knows, but I wanted to show part of it. So I took what could essentially be called a first chapter or an intro, and I said, let's see if I can condense this to 5 minutes and treat it as its own sort of standalone story. But there is definitely much more that could happen with them and individuals that they could interact with who might be somewhat familiar.
Yes.
And who knows? Hopefully we can get there someday.
I hope so too, for sure. It's funny too because I remember when we set about doing this, I think I even said, I'll try to make things a little easy for myself. I'll try to set it up the way that I did with the series, where we'll have some of the reusable assets, the character sprites and the little talking avatars and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't end up really doing that, did I? I just ended up fully animating it because I'm an insane person. But actually, it was very helpful too because I think I've probably talked about this a little bit on maybe some other streams and stuff. But one of the things I've been working on as of recently, and I'm trying to do this before the end of the year, is I'm trying to work on a storyboarding portfolio because I want to next year. One of my goals is I want to start really aiming for a proper job in the animation business, which is what I came out here for. I've been out in LA now for 8 years already, since 2014, and I would love to pursue that more. And so the kind of intro stuff right up until that, I want to try again, please. You sure? Yeah. That was where I had the storyboards, just that little first section, as a portfolio piece. So it was just as beneficial to me. Hi, Andy, in the chat. Hi, hi, Andy. Thank you so much for helping on the animation and stuff. You're awesome.
You are the best. You might also know Andy Mations as Faye Lyons, who is such just an awesome VTuber, awesome artist, and she helped us so much here.
We're gonna go see the One Piece movie soon. Hell yeah. Ziddy asked, actually, this is kind of, I can tie you in with this question. Ziddy asked, how is it like working with actors like Yuri Lowenthal, Todd Haberkorn, and Kyle Hebert? It was such a huge surprise to hear such renowned voice actors in your show back in the day. Yeah, it was great. And, a really cool privilege is that Mack and I both have gotten to work with a lot of people that we grew up hearing in stuff that we watched as kids. And we've gotten to, not only work on shows with them, but even we've gotten to direct them in other projects and, projects of our own and people. I remember Apotheon, one of the games that you directed, you got to work with, oh my gosh,
Sonia
Ball, who's the voice of Polyester from Samurai Pizza Cats, which was like, wasn't that the show?
Entire reason that I'm interested in voiceover at all. And the show that like got me through middle school and high school. And going beyond that, and she's also known for the mom from Arthur. She's Mrs. Reed.
That's right.
And
Arthur Timothy Reed. Middle name. Sorry, I had to throw that out there.
More recently, with some of the TV directing I've been doing, I got to work with Joe Motiki, who best known to a lot of people as the voice of Metabee from Metabots.
Yes.
And this was a guy who I used to watch on TV after school every single day. He hosted a show called basically in between episodes of like Arthur or various PBS type shows. He'd be like, "Hey kids, hope you enjoyed that episode of Arthur. We're gonna answer some fan mail now, and yeah, this is gonna be great." Yeah, he was like the coolest person ever. And so to first get to play his older brother on the Hotel Transylvania animated series, and then now to be directing him and like actually like being able to make all these inside jokes to things from 20 years ago that nobody else knows, it's crazy. The guy actually feels like my brother now. It's awesome.
I know, it's so crazy. I think about, like, good Lord, I have some of these people's, like, phone numbers now. Like, it's, because, Yuri was incredible. He went ahead and did Ruby Rules after I did what's it called? The Shelf Life animated special that I did for him and his lovely wife, Tara Platt. And then I offered him Ruby Rules, and he's like, "Yeah, no, I'm in, absolutely." And I'm like, "Excuse me, what?" And Todd, who I had a lot of great experiences with at conventions, he's cast me in many projects that we've done together, a lot of dubbing things like Netflix shows and stuff like that. Kyle Hebert was one of the first people I ever met professionally who has always treated me like just not a fan, like just a cool person and a friend, and he's wonderful. I called him on his birthday a couple months ago. And we've had many, it's funny, we've battled many times in anime. I've gotten to fight against him in Hunter x Hunter and in Mob Psycho and, a few different, in Dragon Ball as well. I got to fight against him. I was, in fact, I think my yoga character, Zirkor in DBZ, I think he fights Gohan, funnily enough, at some point for like a split second.
It's so cool to see that, like, how many people, in fact, the vast majority of people are like, I'm just some guy.
Yeah,
I'm just some person. Like, and so, like, we have people that we kind of, like, geek out and fanboy over, and then they have those people that they geek out and fanboy over.
I know, seriously.
Oh, it's all just this kind of continued circle, and everybody's just some person.
Absolutely.
That's what it is at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
And you just try to, do the best you can and be good to others
and work out twice a day.
Not complain every day. but yeah, I mean that's ultimately what it comes down to. Just everybody's a person.
Yeah.
Just treat people like people. That's what most people
and I can't believe that, like, the people I got for both the show and especially the RPG, like, I look at that and I'm like, how did you people say yes to working on my thing? This is insane. But you know what? I mean, it comes back to even with you. I'm like, how did you say yes to working on my thing 11 years ago? Were you a crazy person? Good Lord.
Because you let me do whatever I wanted.
Yes.
That's why.
The worst mistake of my life. Well, it's funny. Somebody was asking... Tragdor asked, were there any characters you had trouble adapting for the web series or TTA into the RPG continuity? And funnily enough, I think that adapting the troublemakers, Raccoon, Skate, and Archie, were probably the most trying, but only because you cared so much about wanting to make them as strong of characters as they could possibly be. That we took, I had set the basic kind of arc of what I wanted what I wanted to happen to them in each of the 5 kind of major chapters of the story and everything, and laid out kind of the basic sort of, okay, this is when this is happening with them, and then they do this gag, and then they this rift happens, and then they make up, and all that. Then they have the team attacks and everything. So I laid a little bit of the groundwork, and then you just, when it came to the dialogue and the actual like development of their dynamic, you took that and ran with it. So that was certainly the most complicated of any of the adaptations, just because it was so much more involved. But it turned out great, and I like to think that both of us are very satisfied with how it turned out. So.
Absolutely. You know what I would love to do? I'm just getting the idea now. What if since they're in the chat, we could easily have Faye and Jan join us?
Sure, yeah.
Why not?
I was gonna go. I was gonna go for another like 20 minutes or so, but yeah, absolutely. Let me see if I can do that.
Let's do it.
Okay. Boop. There we are.
Regarding the development of those characters a little bit more, and I would say part of the challenge with it was the fact that they had to be antagonists in the RPG, and I had zero interest in having Rocky be a pure straight up villain again.
Motherfucker!
Andy, no! Stop! This is a Christian stream!
Language!
Oh my gosh!
Language!
I'm eating breakfast. Leave me alone.
Okay, well, good. I invited you in. Jeez. Anyway,
That's okay. You're still cool.
I don't know Jan's new Discord. Can you try to put them in? Sorry about that.
I will do that.
Okay.
No problem.
Okay.
But
Happy anniversary!
Yeah.
Thank you. So yeah, as far as the story goes, and that is part of what further made me want to tell the hard reset story. I did not want villain Raccoon at all. So I always tried to write him, and one of the things that I did with my editing from the dialogue you'd give me was essentially make him nicer, especially to Archie. He's super, super sweet to Archie. And initially they weren't even going to be paired up in the RPG, but I kept wanting to explore that dynamic further. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it just kind of all worked out. We're in the sense of Rocky is nice if he's not offended, if he's not challenged.
If he's being somewhat respected. Pleasant. Yeah. He'll be like, hey, this guy's all right. I'm still gonna, I'm still gonna cheat at this game and throw you out under the bus. But at least I'll not be a jerk to you while I'm doing it necessarily.
Exactly. And I had Skate be kind of horrible, and Archie is not even a villain at all. Yes. Archie is just the sweetest person.
I'm just here. I don't even know. Whatever.
Exactly.
We wound up with not only one of the best side plots in the whole game, but also probably the most difficult boss battle in the whole game. So no biggie. It's just too powerful.
As it should be.
Yes, indeed.
I get Rocky. Everyone wants to be everyone wants to be a villain for like a little bit. They just want to see what happens.
It's not always that fun. Sometimes it's a ton of fun, but
in the short term. But so we have joining us for this last little stretch. We have Andy Faye Lyons, who is our assistant animator on the short, and also Gianna Ponte, who is the new voice of Archie in Hard Reset. Welcome, guys.
Oh, I love animating Archie. He's my sister, by the way.
Hi. Oh gosh.
Welcome.
Hello. I'm not used to all this attention.
Yeah, you're not. I genuinely can't tell if you're in character right now or not.
I actually don't know.
That's the joke.
Lamau.
Hello.
That's
literally
Send
just
my meme
me
again.
every day.
That's the
Just
neat
a
thing
ball
about
of
what made it
anxiety.
so. That's what made it so easy for me to write, because that conversation, the conversations that Rock has with Archie, I have had with basically 30 people with me being the Raccoon and other people being the Archie. So it's just like I've shown the script to people, and all of them said, "Are you writing about me?"
I have had every, like, literally, I swear to God, I must have this exact conversation, like, word for word every week with Mac. Like, ask him, he knows. I've had literally the same interaction that Archie and Rocky have literally almost every week, consistently on the dot.
But
You could track it and everything.
but it's not just you, and that's what I'm hoping makes the story and the characters potentially relatable to people, because a lot of people do struggle with their confidence, and Rocky himself does.
Yeah, it's kind of true. Way to put me on the spot like that, but
Yeah, it's something that I think a lot of people will be able to see themselves in Archie when they kind of see that. And maybe even they see themselves in Rock as well, where he's like, he's got his own sense of self-doubt, even though he's able to carry himself in this very strong sort of way. Beneath that, there's a lot going on.
Hey, by the way, Breaker Beam, who's a great fan artist on Tumblr, said, "This is unrelated, but 2011 Raccoon has invaded my brain, and I quote him so often in the same tone of voice. Devin, you have no idea what you've done to my psyche." So you're influencing people in all sorts of
Wow.
in all sorts of ways, huh?
I mean, I already live in Devin's head rent-free, so, you know, to know that that's happened with other people as well, that's, honestly, it really hits me really deep, just to know that there are so many people who care that much about me all this time later. I never would have expected
I do think it's really funny also that probably the one single minuscule little thing about Raccoon that has invaded every corner of the globe is just the wow. I mean, like, I think you and I have done that in so many cartoons at this point, and so many other people say that now. Wow. I talk funny.
You know where that's from?
That is actually from WarioWare Inc. That is from Jimmy T. When you, like, mess up on one of the micro games and you hear him go, wow.
Really? Yo, DJ!
Yeah!
Everything is a video game reference in Tome, and it just never stops.
It just always comes back to something. That's
Everything is video game.
Oh,
all of it.
Lighty Vox in the
It's a
chat.
big-
Oh, Lighty Vox says that they still do the why from Frag and Quest.
I make silly letters and words jokes. I'm glad that people enjoy that. Part of the reason why I do that and I speak the way that I speak is because language is kind of a joke. Like, I know how to speak big fancy words and talk in good ways that everybody know what I do, but, like, I could also just speak like an infant and people would understand me just as easily. So I'm like, it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna say words and letters and however I feel like saying them because you'll understand me anyways. Everything is a joke.
You're just like me for real.
Breaker Beam
I relate to that so much.
Breaker Beam is reminding me also of the, and I feel like this is getting eclipsed by, oh, I didn't like that from Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, but I always like that. I don't like this.
Oh yes, and I want to shout out somebody who is an amazing person and a good friend in the chat. We do have Corey Holland, who was the voice of Justin in
yes. Hi, Corey.
in episode 11. Yes.
Oh man, a good thing going.
That was an ad lib too. Love that guy because he is a good improv man.
Yes.
And once again, we got to tie everything back to Germa. We have to. He starred opposite Germa in the mobile game called Galactic Fantasy Prelude, where they were both space pirates who recorded alongside each other, and it was great.
Corey, you're my favorite Ninja Turtle.
Oh,
You'll understand what I'm saying.
Oh.
I would love to share something that I think might be an exclusive to the stream.
Hugging?
Okay.
Hugging
So let me.
so hard.
Dark Omega reminded me. Why am I not hearing sounds every time there's ever any kind of audio glitch in Skype or Discord? That's what I think of. Why am I not hearing sounds? So, let me preface with this, that my sharing what I'm about to share is not a confirmation of it's happening, and more so it is not I'm going to do it because I don't want to, but I do want to at least talk about it. Those of you might remember years ago when we did the AX panel, we were at the very end.
Don't remind me.
We were like, oh, you know, how many of you guys want a season 3? How many of you want a video game? You know, woo! We heard the audience reaction and everything. So, excuse me. Ultimately, I decided to go ahead and, thanks to the lovely efforts of Mike Prinky, Nathan Lindley, and Scott Gowan, we were able to make the Tome RPG a reality, which was amazing, and I'm very grateful we were able to do it. At the time, there was a very, very brief moment where I was going to do, or at least going to see about the idea of doing, a 5-episode third season of the Tome web series that would have taken place, of course, after everything. And I ultimately decided not to because there were other things that I wanted to focus my energy into. And so just to reiterate, I'm gonna talk about what it would have entailed, just as like a fun thing for the fans to know. But I want to reiterate, this does not mean, oh, I'm going to do it. Because still to this day, like even when it comes to new Tome stuff, I am more enthused about firstly doing a switch port of the RPG and adding some new stuff to that, and secondarily to hopefully getting to do some more stuff for Hard Reset if we can make that happen. But this is still something that I had a lot of fun with conceptualizing, and there is some stuff that involves Rocky and Archie. So the idea was that after the end of the series and after everything that happened, which, you know, if you've seen it, you know, the U.S. government was going to shut down the game out of wanting to make sure that there was no other repeated incidents again, and to make sure that Softy would be basically kept out of the public eye 100%. They would shut down the game. And so in tribute to that, and you know, of course, Hard Reset would take place, as well as AVZ would take place sometime, you know, within the first couple of months after the end of the show. And what I'm talking about with this season 3 concept would have been a little bit further. And it would have been in basically the last week of the game's existence. The last thing that they would have done is the Net Kings would have thrown a Tome Olympics kind of event where teams of 5 players would compete in these different games, and then by the end, the winning team would, much like with the Net King contest, they would have one wish granted. So, the concept that I had was...
my team.
So, well, I'll get to that. So the concept I had was, it would, of course, be Alpha Nylok and Flame Girl. Zeto, because Curb is no longer, you know, that account was deleted. And a new version of Game Crazed that Softy would have created that would have been kind of like a tribute to the transformed version of Game Crazed from TTA with the long black hair and the kind of like purple bodysuit and stuff, a little bit more morphological looking comparatively. That would have been the main team. There would have been a team of like some of the side characters, like I think Azure Gold was the idea I had. It was like what was it? It was Saturn Diva, Whitey, Astarob, Hyperlinks, and Elescope. The 5 of them, because they were blue and yellow characters. There was what I called the Revengers, which would have been the, you know, goofy, comedic, we'll say adversarial characters. So it would have been comprised of Demon King, Serpentine, Granda, and Raccoon and Archie, that would kind of have this sort of Nick Fury Hawkeye thing going on with each other.
Your idea was originally he was gonna like show up and be like,
I'm Rock Furry. I'm here to invite you to the Revengers Initiative.
And Archie would have like this really sleek, like badass design with like a face mask over over his nose and mouth, and like kind of like a spiky haircut. He'd be like
You can't cover his face.
He'd be really like edgy looking, but then like
I was about to say the same thing.
He'd get like hit by something and go like, "Ow, oh man," it'd still be him underneath and everything. Like that'd be cute. So that was
Come
one.
on, guys, give me a break.
Take me seriously. He takes off his face mask and he's like, "Oh, look at my baby fat underneath."
Little
baby man.
I love how every single person on our team would unite just for the sake of being able to beat up Nilock.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that was the collective, idea behind their team for sure. Want
to beat up the Dragon Man? Yes, let's go.
There would have been a few other teams that would have been some of the TTA characters that never got later incarnations of themselves, like the Ranks of Sanctuary and some of the Season 4 guys and some of that stuff. I remember, I think that the actual... Okay, so the plan was that it was going to be 5 episodes. So it would have been 16 through 20 would have been the last batch. So 16 would have been the announcement of the event happening. And it would have been like all of the... Just the teams like uniting together and, forming themselves and all that. And then the second episode would have been the first event, which was a soccer style kind of like a ball game, but like with no rules. So just completely Inazuma 11 haywire, like people using special attacks to kick a ball into a goal, sort of thing. Each one would have been hosted by a different Net King. All kind of like an alternate version of themselves. So like Exec would have been like, "Hello, I'm Victor Eos," which would have been like his like sportscaster version of himself. Then the next episode after that would have been it would have been like a giant Mario Party board game with mini games in between each round. And the teams would have been inside of like a giant like board game piece, and every turn when a mini game would happen, like in Mario Party, one of their members would be sent out to go play the game, and you could repeat the same one. I think Mac, we talked about the idea of having one where like that one Mario Party mini game where there's the guy in the Bowser suit in like a sand pit, and you rotate the quicksand around and people have to dodge it and collect coins. I think I wanted to have Raccoon be Monster Raccoon again for like a minute for just that one
game.
Yeah. Oh well, Well, they're stupid and for babies, so I get that, but
That's what the other guy said.
And that I never forgot this gag. That was that episode where they play the board game thing would have been where the troublemakers would have been eliminated, like as a team from the competition. And as they were about to be eliminated, they would have been on the board game piece, and Rocky would have been like, "Gentlemen, playing this game with you all has been the greatest honor of my life." Really? Not really! Just kidding, I love y'all. And then the thing blows up and they all get sent blasting off again, because of course they do.
I remember you wanted to do like super over the top too, like 4th of July, like all the way.
If I could have licensed Dare. And then the 4th episode would have been a race to the finish with a giant meteor, like a giant like planet-sized meteor kind of hailing towards Tome to be destroyed. That was kind of the whole premise, is that Tome was going to be destroyed. And then
meteor what?
Meaty his. The meteor would have been on its way to crash into Tome, and all of the remaining teams, including the rival villain team, which would have been led by Dark Eyes of Anubis, who would have been the villain of that season, the unused TTA Season 4 bad guy, would have been kind of the final obstacle. They would have gone through this giant maze of inside of this Astra. Actually, kind of, funnily enough, very similar to Smash Run in Smash 3DS, if anybody remembers that mode.
Yeah,
something
Super Mashed
like that.
Potato Brothers.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, you got it. And that is also where Nylok would have had a showdown with an up-and-comer role-player character that would have been kind of like a recurring adversary for him throughout that season. And they actually would have defeated each other. So that would have been the episode where Nylok had like his quote unquote death in the show. Like as this character, he would have been like officially like quote unquote killed in the lore of Tome by that point, like as he role played it. Remembering also, I wanted to have live action footage of like different characters watching the Tome Olympics like on a live stream, including, I think Mac, we even talked about, I wanted to have Bosco, live action Bosco as the real life doubling/skate rooting for the Revengers. And I would have cut to like Bosco and an actress playing a Splat as live action Splat, like laying on a couch, and he goes like, yeah! Aaron Fitzpatrick, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Who I don't know if she's still rooming with them anymore, but she was their roommate at the time, him and Xander, and she would have said nothing, just looked like, shut up, what? while he was yelling, and
I think there's a lot of potential, honestly, just with those two characters, even so.
With doubling and Splat, you mean?
Yeah. Like how did what happened in Tome affect him is something that I think would be interesting.
Sure.
And just Splat as a character in general.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that would have been it, and then our heroes would have reached the top of the meteor, where they would have been greeted by the Dark Web Master, who is like, oh, I'm going to destroy Tome now, I've been corrupted by some evil whatever thing, this is all part of the show. And then it would have ended in a battle between Dark Eyes, the villain, and I would have had Alpha and Zeto fuse into Alpha Zet. To head for the final stage.
References.
Yeah, of course. And then the prize that are here, because of course our heroes would have won the competition. Their prize would have been, hey, we want to co-develop the next new game that NetKing Software creates, so that we can work with them and we can continue to see Softy. That would have been, then that would have been kind of beyond there. So that was the concept of it. It would have been cool. I'm sure I would have had fun making it if that was the case. However, at the same time, I really do like the way the show ended as it was. I'm very satisfied with it. Although, that's a perfect segue into something else I wanted to talk about. There was one other thing that I really wanted to do for the anniversary this year. I did not get the chance to because I got so busy with too many other things. There was one more thing that I'd like to do, and maybe next year I'll be able to do it if I have time. But some of you guys, I'm sure, who are familiar with a lot of anime know that there have been cases where series will get compiled into movies. Like they'll take the footage of the episodes and kind of compress them into films. Or sometimes they'll even be films first and then they get split into episodes and they'll add some new scenes and things. I would really like to do that for Tome. I would like to make
Tome OVA.
No, not OVAs, because that's closer to what Hard Reset is. I would like to make a trilogy of Tome compilation films that are the 16 episodes that we did, with new footage. And particularly, I would like, because I would want to start it with, like, say, episode 0 and then 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I would make it up front to the audience from the beginning that Kerbifer and Zeto in that version of the story are the same person with different accounts. And I would want it to be from his perspective, basically. That's what I'd like to do. So I don't know about, maybe I'll be able to do that next year. I don't know what's going to be happening with me by that time. But it is something that I'd like to do, and I have some ideas for it. I wrote some material for it. So we'll see. We'll see that maybe that might be something down the line. Who knows? But in the meantime, I'm very glad that in the nick of time, thanks to the hard work of many, many, many people that were just wonderful in how they were able to get everything done in time for the 11th. We were a little worried we wouldn't get it done on time.
Including you guys.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No. Everybody.
No, you were great.
Everybody was great.
I'm extremely happy. First of all, I want to point out real quick, Corey in the comments being like Tome Kai, like that's that's so good.
A little bit, except Kai didn't get any. Well, I guess they had the opening or whatever, but sure, yeah, there was very rarely new footage.
But yeah, I mentioned on Twitter because like I had retweeted the original post, but like, you know, I grew up with Newgrounds, you know, as a kid. I watched it a lot, and obviously I knew of TTA and I'd watched it way back when I was a kid, basically. And in a lot of ways, it's still kind of surreal to like not only be a part of this, but also to like be your friend and watch it grow as much as you have, Chris, and all of that stuff, and to be a part of it, and to get to know Mac, who was somebody else who was a huge inspiration for me back in the day when I was starting out doing VO. I mean, I started doing voice acting back in 2008, dear Lord, which is an eternity now by this point. You know, I started in 2008 when I was like 15. You know, just a kid who didn't know any better, who was like, I love all these cartoons and stuff like that, and all these video games I play. I want to do voices for stuff. And a big source of that was all the stuff that I had watched on Newgrounds over the years. And TTA was certainly one of those things. And obviously, later on, Tome was one of those things. When it came out back in 2011, it was really cool to watch that happen, because I think I had met you around 2010-ish.
No, we had met before that a little bit, very briefly, through the Sonic fandom, I believe. Through a couple other people, a few years before that, because I was doing, because I was doing the Parody Rangers movie, I think, around that time when I met you. I remember that. So that's going way that's going way back. Yeah.
Yeah, that's way back.
That's a dark period for us both.
Yeah. But
there's something I should know about.
No, there is not something you should know about.
It's better if you don't.
But thank you, Sonic. Appreciate it.
It is not way past cool.
Whoa! What are you guys talking about? Ah! Sorry. Love you, Jason.
That tornado's carrying a car.
Wow. Anyway. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much, and I'm glad you got to be part of this as well.
Yeah, it's just really cool to get to be a part of it, because I've been around for a long time as a longtime fan of Tome and TTA, and to say that I got to voice Archie in it and be friends with you guys and work on it together is really cool. It's kind of it's a full circle thing for me, because you know it is one of the things that inspired me to do voice acting. So,
yeah. lot of full circles around here. Lot of circles that make one single circle. It's like one of those like rings of rings in Sonic, like in the 3D games when you have like a ring of rings. It's like that. That's how much of a full circle all of these circles are. So
exactly.
Exactly. All right. Well, I think we can start to wrap things up a little bit. I guess we can take a couple last few questions before we wrap things up. So if anybody in the chat, if you've got any last ones that you want to do, that you would like to ask any of us here, please go ahead. Morpheus ZX, if there are enough sales, if there is a Switch port with additional secret bosses, will the Steam port be updated with the same additional bosses? I don't know. That would probably be up to our publisher. I don't know for sure. But once again, please go pick up Traditive Magical Expertise, the RPG, on on Steam or any other fine digital storefronts. Please support us. So go ahead, Andy. Sorry about that. Stop! No.
Sorry. I forgot what I was gonna. Oh, if I'm gonna, I can't have a speech this time because I'll cry again, just like last year.
Okay.
Oh.
I can't do it.
That's okay. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do a dang old thing. You just be here and look adorable.
And cry. Got it.
And cry a lot. That's fine. Also, shout outs to Ty is in the chat. Melly Grant, who's the RPG GameSoft voice actor. Adam Tilford, who is one of the testers on the RPG as well, is in the chat. Thank you guys so much. Glad you guys could all be here. AquaQ asked, with the knowledge you have today, was there something you wish you could change or polish up from the web series? Don't know if this was asked before. There's probably a lot of things that I would like overhaul, but honestly, I felt that the RPG was such a great like opportunity to just tell a whole new version from the ground up with new incarnations of these characters that I feel like that was kind of my own answer to myself in what I could have done. You know what I mean? So.
Alpha finally became the dork he was always meant to be,
he
and
should
I
have
love
been.
him.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, and you do genuinely. This guy's all right.
Yeah.
Let's see. How did the character of Raccoon come to be? He was originally based on a guy on the Pokemon TV Tome forums who was probably a 12-year-old boy that would spam everywhere. And it was really annoying, and all of the bad guys in TTA were based on these spammers that we had on this forum that I was on years ago. And so the original guy that Raccoon is, if the guy that Raccoon was originally based on, if you're out there, you inspired a wonderful cartoon character, man. All because you just didn't know how to stop posting, and I appreciate you for that.
You literally changed my life.
Yes, you did. Yeah, as
the
did
the butterfly effect.
Absolutely. Let's see. Phoenix Shot. This is a whole topic, but what would you recommend for anyone trying to get into voice acting?
Oh wow, that's a loaded question.
I have a thing. When I first met Chris, I was talking to him about voice acting, and one thing that stuck out to me, or well, not out, but like what stuck to me was like, I'm pretty sure you said like, bad impressions make good characters.
Yeah. A lot of bad impressions. Well, I mean that's for kind of coming up with voices. Certainly. And I used to play RPGs and come up with voices as I was playing through them and everything. That's always a good exercise. But if you want to do it professionally, learn as much as you can about acting. You don't even necessarily have to do theater or film or TV. Certainly that is a huge way to learn more than anything. But if you're too shy or anything, there's classes, there's different things that you can do and study. I don't have a traditional acting background. I didn't do theater or radio or any of that stuff. I taught myself, and we've done
here.
well for ourselves, all of us. Yeah. So just study.
The internet
acting.
generation is so good for that.
Yeah,
absolutely. And again, it's never been easier to connect with other people who are learning at the same time. Finding those people that you can like grow alongside and like challenge each other and get better together.
Absolutely.
That's one of the best things that you can do. There are communities for that. You can find people on Twitter, on YouTube, always saying, "Hey, I need voices for my thing." So work on those amateur projects, build those bonds, and just grow together.
I'm just gonna say this because I'm a little bit biased because I am one of the moderators. But you know what? I'm gonna plug it anyway. If any of y'all want to get into voiceover work, a great place to start learning is the Voice Acting Club. We have a website, a forum, and we also have a Discord chat that is constantly active. We have over 20,000 members of all skill levels. So it is always popping off. Stuff is always happening. You can get advice at any time. Talk to other people who are learning the craft or maybe are farther along in the craft who are professionals who have already done the due diligence and are passing on their advice to other people who are newer. It's a great community, and I think it's easily one of the best places that the movie could learn from. By far, it has done a lot for the community. I mean, way back when, in the original version of the Voice Acting Club, because the Voice Acting Club has existed for a really long time. That was
before
the place.
that we had the the Newgrounds voice acting club, and before that, the Newgrounds find a voice actor thread.
Which by the way, I
God.
will say that one of the founders of these communities is our lovely friend Kira Buckland, who people know, of course, through JoJo and Nier Automata and a million other things. One of the founders of the voice acting club. And a great person.
Absolutely.
Great
actor. And again,
that was the place where I cut my teeth.
For sure. And so many people who are like established names in the industry came through there at one point or another. That's how I connected with Edward Bosco for the first time. Kim Lin Tran came through there. Germa came through there in its original iteration. That's how we connected.
I met Kira and I met Edwin and Lucian Dodge and a couple other people from Tam2 way back in 2005. I think I first met because they worked on Shin, which was a series on Newgrounds at the time. And and a lot of people that came from that community in its kind of primordial era, a lot of them have gone on to be consistent working professionals now. And
some of the biggest names in the industry have all at one point come through the voice acting club or its fellow long since defunct rest in peace variants, the Voice Acting Alliance. Way back in the day. Both of those are hugely instrumental in the formation of the careers of so many people that are doing some of the biggest projects on planet Earth right now.
By the way, I'd like to point out, first of all, Lighty Vox said, Curb told me don't, in response to how do I be a voice actor when I was 14, and I did not listen. Good, I'm glad. Lighty Vox, if somebody... Because look, I say that as a litmus test. Not to be discouraging, it's as a litmus test. Because there are many more things that you can do with your life that you will be able to actually live off of consistently other than being an actor of any kind, voiceover aside. But if you love it more than anything and you're like, I don't care, I'm going to do it, then good. Then you pass the litmus test, so good on you, absolutely.
That's something to be careful with. I think it's ideal to tell people that it's hard, and if you could see yourself being happy doing anything else, then try to.
I'm sure. I would imagine that I probably had it more than just don't. I probably had it also with what I just described. Because I don't do that.
Good. Okay.
But nonetheless, but I'm glad we've retroactively lecturing my own self from however long ago. By the way, also on the note of this,
hey, you know what? We grow and we change. It's the theme of this story.
Kudo Surugi also asked, and this is kind of a fun one. If there was a Japanese dub for Tome, who would be the Japanese voice actor of our characters? Now, here's a question that I want to tack onto this. Would all three of our characters be played by women in the Japanese version that would exist in this hypothetical universe?
Only Archie, I think.
You think so?
Probably
so.
Archie. You know what? Probably Archie. I'm not sure specifically which Seiyu would play him, but
Pikachu.
I have a feeling. Hikue Otani, oh my god, that would be
fucking Chopper!
Wow.
Maybe, but probably it would probably be played by a.
See, it's funny because I always kind of had that thought that like, haha, Curb would be played by a woman, and even in what's it called in the 2011 series, by extension, then like, well, then if it's the same actor, then I guess that Zeto would also be voiced by a woman.
That would be amazing.
That would be really
I'm like, all right, sure, why not?
You need to get an actor with like one of the Takarazuka like shows, like someone who's had experience doing that, where it's all like these deep voiced like more masculine women doing
one of my favorites, her name is Keiko Nemoto. She was the biggest thing the biggest thing she's probably known for is she's Shizune in Naruto, who's the assistant to Tsunade. She has the little pig friend. Yeah, that's the big character she's known for. But I know her for by the way, there's some echo on somebody's end. I don't know who it is.
Probably me, if I had to guess.
No, you're fine. But she was the Japanese voice of bass or forte from Mega Man Battle Network, from Rockman EXE / Mega Man NT Warrior / Mega Man Battle Network. And she has that like really, really like low down here kind of thing going on. And I always loved her voice, so I would love that personally. Mac, I know that you're not really familiar with Japanese voice actors necessarily.
This is the Deven Mack name a single Japanese voice actor challenge.
Yes.
Impossible.
Yeah.
I know Jun something, and I know Masako.
Masako Nozawa. Okay.
I have a headcanon for Raccoon.
For Japanese Raccoon. Okay, lay it on me.
It's gotta be Buggy.
You know, okay, Shigeru Chiba, who is he's the Japanese voice of Buggy the Clown and Emperor Pilaf, and like tons of, he's got this like wacky crazy but I will say he'd probably, if Raccoon was like episode 1 Raccoon all the time, then maybe, but otherwise, that
was an embarrassing time for me. I don't talk about that very much.
Of course.
I like the shrill though. I think that's kind of fun.
I'd have to think about the finite specifics of that a little bit more, but I'm sure there's probably a perfect one.
This is the only anime I've been watching, and there's so many voices, so I'm just like, okay, well, who can I equivalent Tome to One Piece? Right
there was one person I remember, I think that even made like a fan video. In fact, I think, Mac, maybe you even showed it to me, that was like, what's it called? That somebody took like clips of Japanese actors and like put up pictures of the Tome characters and said, these are who I hear if they were to pick Japanese actors or something.
We gotta do that again. We gotta do that for real this time.
Oh, Lord. Let's see. Do we have any more?
Flame Girl has to be Robin.
That might be a little low for her.
No, I just want a hot woman.
Oh my god, Ziddy was like, I want Japanese Frieza to be Rocky, and I'm like, maybe not. Tormentros, probably not Raccoon.
Wouldn't it be fitting if, I don't know, whoever Goku's voice actor would be for Alpha?
That might even be a little too. Actually, Alpha, I do picture Alpha being a guy, which is ironic. Yeah. I'm trying to scroll through if we had any other last couple questions or anything, but otherwise we can start to wrap up. We went for almost 2 hours. My gosh.
Hogging so hard. You know, wait, maybe Curb could be Killua's Japanese voice actor. It's young.
No, get Shawapoof. Just make it official. We just share both.
You know what? Perfect.
Oh,
100%.
Good Lord.
It might as well be.
Oh. All right, last chance for any other questions we have before we begin to wrap it up here, folks.
Megumi Ogata Zeto.
No, Megumi Ogata's gonna be GameSoft. What were you saying, Mac?
I wasn't. No,
sorry.
He wasn't saying anything.
I'm sorry.
I was saying
Raccoon,
anything.
What were you saying? Please excuse me. I get you confused for each other.
I was just saying last stop, last call. That's what I was saying.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Train is now closing.
Please keep your hands, feet, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times.
Melly Grant is here. I love Melly Grant.
Hi, Melly.
Let's go.
You're great.
Voice of RPG GameSoft.
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
Name some other things.
What's your favorite effort noise to make as voice actors?
All right, shut off, boys.
Oh gosh.
I thoroughly enjoy the sound of Raccoon being injured. It's music to my ears.
You are a sick and twisted individual.
I love getting to dramatically scream. That's my jam when I get to do that.
That's my least favorite.
Oh no.
I got
For him,
to do
when he does
I got to do my first real like named anime role a little bit ago in a show called Black Summoner, and I got to play this bad guy who was the very typical conniving, glasses wearing, you know, the kind of character, the justice planned kind of guy. And one of my favorite things was getting to hear, was getting to do, like, because he chuckled on a couple of lines, and so I got to do an evil sort of, you know, like a real evil conniving kind of a thing, and that was fun. I have yet to do like the anime gasp, like, you know, like that kind of a thing yet, but I'm hoping to do that at some point if I get more anime stuff. I have to.
I try to avoid those as much as possible. I always try to do an actual, like, or something as opposed to a just because they drive me a little insane. But
yeah, that is entirely fair because they're ubiquitous. Yes. They're very ubiquitous.
Of course.
I hope to do that someday just to drive you more insane.
You know what? Okay, here's a good one to end on. I'll answer this last one because we're literally at the credits theme of Tome here. Micromania asked, advice on making an animated series.
Don't.
No. If you have any animation ability whatsoever and you pick up any kind of program to make shows, to make any kind of cartoons and things, learn your animation basics, learn how to draw, learn how to write stories, learn how to create characters, and then just go ahead and do it. You know, team up with other people, find other up-and-comers that, you know, you want to collab together with, background artists and voice actors and musicians and all sorts of things. Like, do anything you can. Find a community of people, because, you know, certainly there's ways to make stuff on your own, but if you want to make a series, if you want to do something like what we somehow all of us managed together to do on Tome, then, you know, by all means, you know, get a team together, get your own dandy alliance together of people to, you know, to form your dream team of people to make an animated show. You can. I've been seeing more and more people, you know, creating original content and making animation, you know, stuff on TikTok and, you know, as well as YouTube and still on Newgrounds and all these different things. It's very possible. And once in a while you'll get, you know, people that become really successful that spawn out of that. And, you know, I've certainly been very grateful for what we've been able to do together. But yeah, that's my thought. So, you know, learn everything you can so that you can do a little bit of everything and work together with others in order to make it happen. And set yourself to a deadline and be, you know, like hold yourself to that. You know, you got to pay your bills and everything. It's not always going to be lucrative monetarily, but do the best you can with that and work out twice a day. So everybody,
all of that
applies.
Yes, all of that applies to pretty much any kind of creative thing that you do as well. You could apply that to making a video game or doing all sorts of other stuff, and it is always very cool to keep all that in mind. It is all very good advice. I am kind of dealing with that myself because, like, I do want to get some original projects off the ground at some point, but it's been a little rough. But hopefully that'll all come together at some
You've got
point.
friends to help you.
Yes,
It sure does.
Always collab with your friends. That'll be fun.
Well, as we wrap things up, Jan and Andy, first of all, do you guys want to give yourselves a little plug if you want to post Twitters or anything in the chat? I think you might have the ability to do that.
No, I'm okay.
No?
No, I'm okay.
Okay.
I don't need anything. I'm just happy to get to do this shit.
Well, then I'll do it. You can follow Andy on @FaeLions, FAELIONS on Twitter, and twitch.tv/FaeLions as well.
And then
yes. So in my case, you can find me on a couple of different places. I have my own website, which is janaponte.card. That's card with 2 R's. .co. That's my main website where I have all of my voice acting stuff there, but I also have links to different websites that I'm on. Right now I'm on Twitter as Janaponte MUVO. That all one word, Janaponte Muvo, MUVO. And you can also find me on Tumblr as Den1002, the words 0 and 2, not the actual numbers. Basically, if you don't see me on Twitter because of the meltdown that's currently happening, you will find me on there.
help.
But yes, you can find me on those two places predominantly, and if I post anywhere else, I'll link it on my website or on my Tumblr or Twitter.
Cool. All right. Mac, how about you?
I guess if you wanna, you
do.
can follow me on the.
No, let me do mine first.
Fine, whatever.
Give us the
Yeah, you can follow Raccoon on his Twitter. He does his VTubing streaming every now and then. And you can follow me. So he's Raccoon Toon. I'm Devin O'Clock. And I would appreciate it if people learned how to spell it. That's right. There's at least 3 A's and an I, and don't do that. It's Deven. It's like 7, but with a D.
He's wrong. He's trying to trick you. Stop.
So check those out if you wanna. And again, I also just want to add, like, thank just all of you guys, just for everybody, of course, who helped make this possible. But you out there who are watching helped make this possible as well. The fact that people still care about this little dumb rascal that I love and means a lot to me. It's been very therapeutic for me in a lot of ways. Rocky expresses a lot of things that I am not able to express very easily. So the fact that he has resonated with people and they still want to see and hear more of him all this time later is really, really special to me. So just thank you all so much.
Absolutely.
As they say on public television, this show was made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
It really was. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you everybody for joining. This was great. Happy 11th anniversary to the Terrain of Magical
Happy
Expertise.
anniversary.
Away. As always, I'm Chris
Thank
Niosi.
you for the raccoon, Chris.
Of course.
Thank you
yes.
for the me.
You're welcome, you. I guess you're all right for a not bear.
Oh, that's one of the sweetest things you've ever said about me.
I know. Give me a kiss.
I want
Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss.
I will actually just today. Let us never speak of this
Technically-
again. Okay. You're going too far.
Too much tongue. Sorry. Sorry. I know. Our teeth probably hurt. Okay, so
It tastes like marshmallows though. Tastes like marshmallows though. It's fine.
Delicious.
Thank you everybody.
I will throw one. Oh my goodness! I need to get this image out of my mind, out of everybody's mind. On a positive note, everybody, I just want to say, work hard, work smart, be good to others, and it's never too late to try to be the best version of yourself. And no matter what's going on, there's always somebody out there that could use your help. Try to always think of that other person. You can find strength in that. I know I did.
You're so cool.
Oh, stop. You're so cool too. We're all so cool. You're so sweet.
We're all so tiny, the three of us.
And I'm so proud of you.
What do you mean 3?
I'm so proud of you.
Oh no, you're right. No, Andy. You're a Tome character too. Get over here. I'll just
I am a
make
Tome.
you tiny.
I'm
Yeah.
just in the background all the time.
Group hug, everybody.
Hug.
Oh,
Blech.
all right. With
All right.
with that, thank you for that, Max. Seriously, and I'm proud. I'm grateful. I'm glad. And this was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you everybody who listened to this, whether you were tuning in live or if you watched this the archive of this after the fact. Thank you for being here and being part of this and enjoying this. If you haven't seen Hard Reset yet, there's a link in the description. Go watch it. Hell, go back and rewatch rewatch the series again. I saw a few people saying,
and that.
I want to go back and watch
I gotta
it again.
do that.
Please do. Really appreciate it. And for myself, I mean, you can find me here. You can find me on Twitter still at Kerbifer. I haven't lost the blue check mark yet. I'm counting the seconds and before I'm not a real boy anymore. Go check out the
I'm
Tome
trying to
game
see
on
if I can
Steam.
take it and just get it from him.
Yeah, and replace it with a red X. On my channel, I'm going to be playing Pokemon Scarlet and Violet with some friends pretty soon, so look forward to that. I might have, hopefully, another little fun musical thing for the end of the year. Not a Sonic thing this time. Although, by the way, everybody watch Sonic Prime on Netflix this December.
Oh, yeah. That would be...
Yes, watch it.
That would be significantly further than radical.
All right, cool, yeah.
Sonic Renaissance, baby. It's here. It's now. Let's make it
We
happen.
gotta
Let's
move
make the dream
at a
real.
relatively quick pace, baby.
Sonic! I want to go to McDonald's!
Oh, now you've done it.
Now I've opened the I Hear Breakfast!
That is a reference that no one will understand. But
No, but you
here's the
do,
funny
and that's
thing.
all that
I'll say
matters.
here's something else I'll say really quickly. A lot of people thought that I had done Sonic's voice in online stuff before. I never have. I'd never even really attempted the voice much up until my audition. But there is an inside joke between me and Josh Tomar where I believe he saw somebody's Sonic and Amy fan art. And it looked like it was supposed to say "she's so beautiful" in cursive, but he read it wrong and he thought Sonic was saying "I hear breakfast." So that became our go-to Sonic quote.
Yeah.
I hear breakfast.
There's
And that is the only time.
There's one reference to that. There's a cartoon that Twisted Grimm made about Ash and Misty
Yes.
like having a Pokemon battle, and I helped like write some of the jokes in that. And she sends out her Togepi, which gets cooked up and turned into like fried eggs. And I had Ash go, "I hear breakfast," and that was
Voiced
little
by
run of that.
world famous Michael Johnston.
Yes.
And
yes.
and Anna Kingsley was Misty in that, and she sounds exactly like her. It's scary.
Yeah, and both also
Exactly like Rick
also
Lewis.
Tome friends, Michael and Anna, both of them from the book series as well. Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
One-
Flame Girl and
Bub.
the other computer boy.
Bub. Yeah.
And that's right.
Yes,
That's
yes.
right.
No,
The one who wanted to taste.
No, that was our Crash Hour. You're thinking of Philip Lamont.
Oh, Philip.
That's a completely
yes, of course,
different
of course.
character. Wow.
I remember Bub. He's the one who wanted to taste my blood, which
Yeah.
tastes like chocolate milk. So now you know the answer to that.
Ooh, chocolate milk and marshmallows together. Delicious.
I don't.
This is how I
We've
win.
gone too
This
far.
is how
We've
I
gone
win.
too far.
This is how I beat you.
This is the part where I say bye. Can we do
yes,
that?
we can. All right. Fare thee well, everybody. We will catch you all
Cut the
next time.
feed. Cut the feed.
Love you.
Thanks, everybody. We'll catch you all next year. Take care.
Thank you, guys.
And happy Tone anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
We will see you all on the battle grid.